he's my idol. A lot of his phrases I've taken into my coaching career, and I've always asked myself throughout my coaching career, what would Coach Runk do in this situation? He was a good role model for me to follow.
There's so many different thoughts I have. There's as his player. Then there's as a friend, father figure. I guess humble when I think of Coach Runk. Just all these accolades he earned along the way, but never went to his head. You know, he was always a simple man from East Baltimore.
Carl Runk and my father went to high school together, and they were a part of a big clique of guys that grew up together, hung out, they ate crabs every Wednesday together, and then that's how I got, the reason I played lacrosse was because of Carl Runk, because my dad and the relationship he had with Carl Runk.
My wife Sharon, we've known each other, like you said, we both went to Taos, and she described him as terrifying. And I said, Sharon, that's not true. He's pretty rugged, but he's a great guy, great man. He was a great coach too.
We were fortunate with Coach Runk to have the best coach you could ever have. He was great. He knew how to push the buttons to get people to play, and everybody's button was a little different on what he needed to do to get Joe Jones or whoever the guy is to go out and play hard.
Coach Runk was tremendous. I mean, he was unique. He was from my side of town, from Baltimore East Side, Patterson Park. I was Archbishop Curley High, all right, and man, he had a playbook that you wouldn't believe. We had all these unsettled situations, which we were very good at, by his playbook. The offense, tremendous. Cuts from the middies, plays from the attack. Ball movement, real important. We had all kind of drills and practices, things where we had ball movement, and then everybody knew when they had the green light to go to the goal. If you had the yellow caution, you had the red, hey, slow down, you're going too fast, you better pull the ball out. And that's the way we were, learning, and we shared the ball.
When Coach told you something, you did it, right? You did it. You didn't comment that at that time. Now, he might talk to you later on, and you can talk to him about some things, but you never, I still have not met a human being that had that presence, that when he spoke, that's it. There's no comment. There's no comment. There's no remarks. It just, that's it. That's the law. He laid it down, whether it was right or wrong, and that's what we're doing.
Playing for Coach Runk wasn't, the easiest thing in the world. I mean, he was, I don't want to say a disciplinarian, but you knew where you stood and you knew what you had to do to do well and be seen as doing well in his eyes. And there were times where we as a team didn't live up to his standards, and he certainly allowed us to enjoy a little bit more recreation of running than we normally would.
Not making mistakes all over the field, and this is something about the big man. He would just yell out a name, and you had to recognize that he was talking to you. So he could yell out, hey, Billy, Bobby, Johnny, Leo. And if you didn't answer him, he would get very upset. And one time he barks at me and would say, Billy, what's going on? And I turned around and just said, Coach, all due respect. I said, my name's Greg. If you just call me Greg, I would answer you. And he said, I'll take that into advice. And I turned and walked away, and he just yells, hey, Luke. And I turned around and he goes, you're learning, partner, you're learning. That's my name amongst my lacrosse teammates. That was the name that stuck, and I couldn't care less.
So we're up at Drexel one year, and we're winning comfortably. It's like middle of the third, end of the third quarter, and we get in the huddle when we're winning, obviously put in the substitutions, and Coach Runk says, Paul McKinney, get in the game. And we all look at each other, and we say, Coach, Paul graduated 2 years ago, and we all busted out laughing. I mean, it was, because Coach had he coached for so many years. I mean, think of the Rolodex of people in his head between, being a coach at Towson football, lacrosse, and many, many years, and even during practices, he'd blurt out different names of guys that graduated, and we're like, okay, coach, because, but that was him.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this hand comes and he drills me right here. And it's affectionately known as the sausage because his fingers were so long and so thick. And I had my shoulder pads on. And I'm like, freshman. And he drilled me right here. And I wasn't even in the game. I still probably have a red mark from where he got me. But we talked about the sausage a lot. But then after that, you would always see the freshmen. They were like in the front there. It was like, upperclassmen would look at one another like, boy, they're about to get it.